Hi everyone. Today we are going to see Cam 15 Test 1 Reading Passage 3. So as we finished other two, we are going to see the third passage, Cam 15 Test 1 Reading Passage 3. What is exploration? So we are all explorers. Our desire to discover and then share the newfound knowledge is part of what makes us human. Indeed, this has played an important part in our success as a species. Long before the first caveman slumped down beside the fire and grunted news that there were plenty of wild beasts over yonder, our ancestors had learned the value of sending out scouts to investigate the unknown. The questing nature of ours undoubtedly helped our species spread around the globe, just as it nowadays no doubt helps the last nomadic Pinan maintain their existence in the depleted forest of Borneo and a visitor negotiate the subways of New York. Over the years, we have come to think of explorers as peculiar breed, different from the rest of us, different from those of us who are merely well-traveled, even and perhaps there is a type of person more suited to seeking out the a type of caveman more inclined to risk venturing out. That, however, doesn't take away from the in fact that we all have this inquiring instinct even today, and that in all sorts of professions, whether artist, marine biologist, or an astronomer, borders of the unknown are being tested each day. Thomas Hardy set some of his novels in Egdon Heath, a fictional area of uncultivated land, and used the landscape to suggest the desires and fears of his characters. He is delving into matters we all recognize because they are common to humanity. This is surely an act of exploration and into a world as remote as the author chooses. Explorer and travel writer Peter Fleming talks about the moment when the explorer returns to the existence he has left behind with his loved ones. The traveler who has for weeks or months seen himself only as a puny and irrelevant alien crawling laboriously over a country in which he has no roots and no background suddenly encounters his other self, a relatively solid figure with a place in the minds of certain people. In this book, about the exploration of Earth's surface, I have confined myself to those whose travels were real and who also aimed at more than personal discovery, but that still left me with another problem. The word explorer has become associated with the past era. We think back to a golden age as if exploration peaked somehow in the 19th century, as if the process of discovery is now on the decline, though the truth is that we have named only 1.5 million of this planet's species, and there may be more than 10 million. And that's not including bacteria. We have studied only 5% of the species we know. We have scarcely mapped the ocean floors and know even less about ourselves. We fully understand the workings of only 10% of our brains. Here is how some of today's explorers define the word. Rand Fiennes, dubbed the greatest living explorer, said, "An explorer is someone who has done something that no human has done before, and also done something scientifically useful." Chris Bonington, a leading mountaineer, felt exploration was to be found in the act of physically touching the unknown. You have to have gone somewhere new. The Robin Hanbury Tennyson, a campaigner on behalf of remote so-called tribal peoples, said, "A traveler simply records information about some far off world and reports back, but an explorer changed the world." Wilfred Thesiger, who crossed Arabia's empty quarter in 1946 and belongs to an era of unmechanized travel, now lost to the rest of us, told me, if I'd gone across by camel when I could have gone by car, it would have a stunt To him, exploration meant bringing back information from a remote place, regardless of any great self-discovery. Each definition is slightly different and tends to reflect the field of endeavor of each pioneer. It was the same, whoever I asked. The prominent historian would say exploration was a thing of the past. The cutting-edge scientist would say it was of the present, and so on. They each set their own particular criteria. The common factor in their approach being that they all had, unlike many of us who simply enjoy travel or discovering new things, both a very definite objective from the outset and also a desire to record the findings. I would best declare my own bias as a writer. I'm interested in the exploration of ideas. I have done a great many expeditions and each one was unique. I have lived for months alone with isolated group of people all around the world, even two uncontacted tribes, but none of these things is of the slightest interest to anyone unless through my books. I have found a new slant, explored a new idea. Why? Because the world has moved on. The time has long passed for the great continental voyages, another walk to the poles, another crossing of the empty quarter. We know how the land surface of planet lies. Exploration of it is now down to the details. The habits of the microbes, say, or the grazing behavior of buffalo. Aside from the deep sea and deep underground, it's the era of specialists. However, this is to disregard the role of human mind has in conveying remote places. And this is what interests me, how a fresh interpretation, even of a well-traveled route, can give its readers new insights. So with this, we go to the questions. So it's going to be MCQs from 27 to 32. So let me read the first question. The writer refers to visitors to New York, illustrate the point that. What is the point that he is illustrating regard to New York? So see this, our desire to discover and then share newfound knowledge is part of what human indeed. So that is the main idea of the paragraph. So here the writer provides reference to the visitors of New York to illustrate the point in the last line of the paragraph, and the visitor negotiate the subway of the New York. So desire to discover is desire for exploration. Part of what makes us human is intrinsic element of being human. Understand? So again, I go to the options. I go with option A. Exploration is an intrinsic element of being human. You understand? According to the second paragraph, what is the writer's view of explorers? So second paragraph, over the years, we have to think of explorers, a peculiar breed. So it's different from the rest of us. Different from those of us who are merely well-traveled, and so a type of caveman more inclined to risk venturing out. What does this line suggest? We had considered explorers a different type of human beings who want to take the risk to go on dangerous adventures. So, and also he says that we all have this inquiring instinct even today. So it's a common. They act on an urge that is common to everyone. We all have this inquiring instinct even today. Understand? So next is the writer refers to a description of Egdon Heath to suggest that. So what does Egdon Heath says? I go back to paragraph 3. So Egdon Heath suggests Thomas Hardy set some of his novels in Egdon Heath, a fictional area of uncultivated land, and uses the landscape to suggest the desires and fears of his characters. So, yeah, desires and fears of the characters are nothing but emotional states, isn't it? So, yes, I go with option C. Hardy's aim was to investigate people's emotional states. In fourth paragraph, the writer refers to golden age to suggest. So what does the writer say? A golden age in the fourth paragraph. With the word explorer has become associated with the past era. We think back to a golden age. So what does the author comes to say here? As if exploration peaked in 19th century, the process of discovery is now on the decline. So the process of discovery being in decline is a wrong idea. So what will be the correct option? I go with the options. We are wrong to think that exploration is no longer necessary. Understand? In sixth paragraph, when discussing the definition of exploration, the writer argues. So what is the definition of exploration? Each definition is different and tends to reflect the field of endeavor of each pioneer. And set their own particular criteria. So each definition is different for the word exploration. Hence, it reflects the field of endeavor of each pioneer and set their own particular criteria. So they relate the exploration to the professional interest. Prominent historian would say exploration was a thing of the past. And cutting edge scientists would say it was of present. So I again go with the options. So people tend to relate exploration to their professional interest. In the last paragraph, writer explains he is interested in. So what is the author interested in? So however, this is to regard that role the human mind has in conveying remote places, and this is what interests me. How a fresh interpretation, even of a well-traveled route, can give its readers a new insights. So, what may be the correct option? Yes, I go with option B, the human ability to cast new light on places that may be familiar. Even though it's familiar, the human ability to cast a new light on it is makes the difference. So I hope you understand. So next we are going to match the statement with the passages. So you may use any letter more than once. It's another note here. So he referred to the relevance of the form of transport used. So the question is, he referred to the relevance of the form of transportation used. I go with paragraph 5. So Wilfred the Zyger, who crossed Arabia's empty quarter in 1946 and belongs to an era of unmechanized travel, now lost to the rest of us, and told me if I would have gone across by camel, when I could have gone by car, it would have been a stunt. So camel is a form of transportation which is used, isn't it? So it's by Wilfred the Zyger. I go with option E. He described feelings on coming back home after a long journey. So feelings on coming back home after a long journey. So again, I go with the passage. See the passage 2. Explorer and travel writer Peter Fleming. Explorer and travel writer Fleming talks of the moment when the explorer returns to the existence of he has left behind his loved ones. So for weeks or months. So this shows the explorer coming back home after a long time. So I go with Peter. What is the correct option for Peter? A Peter. Peter Fleming. He worked for the benefit of specific groups of people. So somebody who is going to with benefit of specific groups of people. So see this. Robin Hanbury Tennyson, a campaigner on behalf of remote, the so-called tribal people said. So on behalf of tribal people, so then for another person's benefit or support of the tribal people. So the answer is Robin. What is the correct option for Robin? So it's D, Robin Hanbury Tennyson. So he worked for the benefit of tribal people. So he did not consider learning about oneself an essential part of an exploration. So see this. Again, I go to the passage. So Wilfred Zyger, who crossed Arabia's empty quarters in 1946 and belonged to an era of an unmechanized travel. So if I would gone by camel when I could have gone by car, it would be a stunt. Exploration meant bringing back information from a remote place, regardless of any great self-discovery. So what does this mean? Regardless of great self-discovery is nothing but he did not consider about oneself. So again, I go with the options. It's again Wilfred the Zeiger. He defined exploration being both unique and value to others. Again in fifth paragraph, Ran Fiennes dubbed the greatest living explorer. Explorer is someone who has done something no human has done before and something scientifically useful. So no human has done before is unique. Something scientifically useful is value to others. So I go with option B, Rand Fiennes. So this is the way I just gone with the keywords which is I found in the questions. So next is going to be a summary completion with not more than 2 words. So the writer's own bias. The writer has experience of a large number of dash and so has experience of large number of dash. First stranger that certainly previously dash people had encountered. So large number of dash, I go with the final paragraph. I would best declare my own bias. I'm interested in the exploration of ideas. I have done great many expeditions and each one was unique. So what is the great number of expedition is large number of expeditions. So the answer is expeditions. And was the first stranger that certain previously dash people has encountered. So again, I go to the passage. So I lived for months alone with isolated groups of people all around the world, even two uncontacted tribes. So isolated group of people or uncontacted tribes. Understand? So stranger that certain previously uncontacted people or isolated, both are right. Understand? Uncontacted tribes is also an answer, or it may be isolated group of people. Anything, anyone is correct. Okay, both the answers. He believes that there is no need for further exploration of Earth's dash except to answer specific questions such as how buffalo eat. So we know how the land surface of our planet lies. Exploration of it is now down to the details, the habits of microbes or the grazing behavior of buffalo. So, what is the answer? Land surface of our planet. You understand? So, he believes no need for further exploration of Earth's land surface. So I hope you are able to follow the passage. So this is the way I have gone with the keywords. I also suggest you people to follow the keywords. So thank you for your patience. Let us end up the session here.